Hey guys, it's Yishan here. Today I have a very interesting video for you guys, one you guys have been requesting, and it's a Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade test hands video. And the point of this video is to show combos where your hands are a little weird or not optimal, or you're not drawing the optimal hands, or you're drawing weird hands, and so they don't fall into too many of the mainline combos that I already did with my 9 combos on Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade video that I did a while ago. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out. The deck profile I'm using, I got 20th or 19th or something like that at the Extravaganza. It's also up on the channel. You'll see a link to it in the description as well. It's the exact same deck I'm using for this video. Now, we have some interesting hands. And so the first one I've drawn here, and these are completely random. I just shuffle them up, and when I see an interesting one, I stop and I start the combo test hands. Is one right here where we've got a Rescue Cat, a Tanky, an Apex Avion, and you know what we could call 3 bricks, but are not necessarily super bad, right? And so I see a hand like this. I immediately try to think, okay, can I get this oath working, right? Because if I see that I can have this in the graveyard or in the hand, and I can use oath to summon the Apex Avion, so it's not that big a loss after all. So, you know, there's a lot of different things we could be doing here, but I definitely think you want to start with the Rescue Cats. And the reason for this is if it gets ashed, it's going to get ashed. There's not much you can do about it, right? And so if it gets ashed, you're probably just going to go for a Tanky, go for a Karis, and then try to set up, you know, a Simorgh. You can even activate the Rendezvous so that it your statue gets protected in the end phase, if you guys catch my drift here. But we're going to just assume Rescue Cat goes off. So that's my backup plan, is this Tanky. And then when we do our Rescue Cat, we usually go for a Karis and a Kit. And next what we're going to do is we are going to link these two off into a Farrajet, right? Because we need to do this part of the cat combo. And remember, I like my Farrajet over here. And then we're going to use Kit's effect in the graveyard to send a Nerval. So that's nice. And if this gets ashed now for some reason, you're fine, you have the Tanky, but the Nerval can grab us a Karis because we are missing a Karis, right? So at this point, you know, if this hasn't been ashed, I'm feeling pretty good about myself because, you know, I'm going to set up an Appaloosa, and then I also noticed that my Appaloosa combos well with the Tri-Brigade Oath to be able to special back the Apex Avion. So what I would do now is I would like to save my Karis. So I'm actually just going to activate the Tanky here, and I'm going to grab a Fractal because Karis is like the best extender, right? So we're trying to save that for us, you know, for later, and then we can use Farrajet to special summon out our Fractal. Okay, and so now that we have a bunch of cards here banished, we have a few choices. We have a few routes we could go here. But for this route, I'm just going to go for the standard combo, which is where we're going to banish 4 here. Because I see this Avion, I see this Karis, I want to make use of this Oath, I want to keep my advantage, keep as much card advantage as I can, so I'm just going to go for the Shuraig. And we have a few options here. You could be a little greedy, but I like to just go straight into the Appaloosa with these 3, right? And so what we can do is these 3 will get us the Appaloosa. And what we can do now is we can activate our Shuraig to search and our Farrajet to draw 1. So it's usually slightly better to have the search resolve first and then your draw 1 resolve, because you want to search out the card, and you don't want that draw 1 to be a negative impact for you. So there's a few options we could search here, right? We've already got the Karis. We could search a Tri-Brigade for next turn. If you do something like that, Nerval or Kit is a great option. You could also try to search a DD Crow, because DD Crow will maybe give you some extra interruptions, right? And so there's plenty of options that you could go with here. I am actually going to search another Nerval here, because I think that this board is pretty good, especially at game 1. And if anything goes wrong, I'm probably just going to want the extra Tri-Brigade extender here. And then Farrajet will draw a card. I have no idea what's on the top. Okay, it's a driver. Let's just put the driver back. These 2 are better in our hand than this driver. Okay, so now, you know, we've got some interesting plays here. And what we can do now is we can activate this Karis, discarding the Avion, and specialing this here. So we've got a 3 material Appaloosa, right? And we can banish these. Remember, it's important to leave the Apex Avion in the graveyard because you can special it back with Oath. Now, a lot of players might be wondering, Yishan, what about leaving the Shuraig in the graveyard to special back off Oath? Unfortunately, this was not properly special summoned, so you don't want to fall for that trap where you try to special summon back this Shuraig, right? So if that's the case, then we just banish these 3. And special summon out a Simorgh. Okay, and so now we have an Appaloosa, which is a different type than the Apex Avian on our graveyard for our Oath. We've also got our Rendezvous, which we can just fire off right away if we want to in the draw phase / standby phase or whatever, to sort of try to help play around, you know, any sort of battle destruction. So remember, you want to make sure that it's linked here, and then we can just fire both of these, you know, fire both of these off, get this back, and you can see we've got a really, really nice board here. So that was test hand number 1. Even with 2 bricks, we made the best use that we could of them. Drawing them is not so bad, as you can see. And so we were able to do some interesting combos there. So I'm going to go and shuffle up this hand, and I will get on to the next hand right after this. And, okay, lots of Tri-Brigades in this hand, so I think this qualifies as interesting. Okay, so there are a few options here. You know, you could go many ways with these plays. This kit is not the most necessary. So what I would do is I would start off with a Fractal, of course, because there's a decent chance this gets ashed. And if this gets ashed, you have like a Karis kit or a Karis Nerval play afterwards. So we start with the Fractal. Now we have to make a decision of what to send. So we're going to normal probably one of these Tri-Brigades. It's unlikely we're going to, I mean, we could special all of them with Farigite, and that may be what we decide to do, because I think we can end on an Oath board here if I'm not mistaken. So we can use this Fractal to send something that we don't want or we might not use. So I'm going to actually send the kit here. Now, you have to try to get a read on your opponent. It's not, you know, I think in a competitive game, I would probably send the Rendezvous here. Because especially game 1 blind statue is usually like good enough statue plus protection. You could get greedy and try to send the Oath, but I'm just going to take both targets out of the deck so we can analyze the pluses and minuses of going each route here. But you could do something like this or like this. Now, there's an important reason why I went dumped the kit instead of the Nerval, and the reason for this is that because when I go for kits, I want to be able to activate the effect to banish 2 to special summon a Farigite. I don't want a special Harpy Conductor because it saves a card in my hand, right? And so what we can do is we can summon the Conductor here, okay? I mean, not the Conductor, the Farigite. And since this is a Winged Beast, this will be able to turn into our later, you know, our later shenanigans. So one thing we could do here is like, so for example, if we wanted to end on the Oath board, we could have special summoned out the kits with our Farigite, right? And we'd probably put our kit, I guess, you know, right here, let's say. And then we could, or even over here. And what we could do is we could actually link these 2 off for the Simorgh, right? And then Nerval and Farigite would trigger. So Nerval, you'd probably get, we run out of kits, right? So Nerval, you could get another Fractal, is usually a good default. And then your Farigite would trigger and you would draw a card and then put 1 back, right? And so you could draw 1, put this driver back, and then what you could do is you could use this kit to banish 2 for a double Dragon Lords. And this doesn't even, you know, consider all your options, right? Because like we still have this Karis left in hand. So we could do something with this Karis, although we are running a little bit low on targets, right? So as you can see, this would fulfill the Beast Warrior Winged Beast requirement. However, it can be a little sketchy because if you get hand trapped somewhere along this line, you might have rather send the Rendezvous instead. The Oath might be dead. So it's really a pick your own poison. If you want to, you know, Karis is here for, you know, as an extender, just in case your opponent does something. Now, one thing you could say is, well, I have this Karis, I can send the Oath because I have an extender, and that's a perfectly fine option to go with as well. You know, it's really up to you. And so this is showcase, like, even if you just draw a bunch of Tri-Brigades, you can still end on pretty good board. So this was an interesting hand. I hope you guys learned something from this one. Let's go on to the next one, next interesting hand that I find. All right, so let's see if this hand is interesting. Kit, Crow, Tinky, Nerval. So this hand serves a similar thing to game one. In fact, we can do exactly what we just did in the last hand, right? Because remember last hand we had a Fractal, Kit, and Nerval. So we could do the exact same thing that we did last hand. This hand's slightly better going second, so I'd be happier to see it going second. Actually, it's much better going second, excuse me. And so I'm not going to go over this hand because we just sort of went through something similar, and so I'll move on to the next one. Okay, so now we have an interesting hand here. This one looks very similar, and it is pretty reliant on Rescue Cat. As you can see, we drew a bunch of bricks, but it's an interesting one, so I want to show it to you guys. What I see right here when I look at this hand as an experienced player is I see that these two, while not usually working well as a combo, do have some potential because they can special summon each other and make some plays that way. So I'm actually keeping my eye out for this because there is some promise here, and so definitely keeping my eye out for that one. And I have a Rescue Cat here, so these two are pretty dead in this hand, but that's all right. We'll start with the cat, and we will go again for the Kit and the Karis, as is pretty standard with our cat plays. So we'll grab our kits, and now we have the same old, same old. We're gonna link these two off for a Farrajet, and this time Kit is going to have to dump the Nerval. We don't have much of a choice here. We need another Tri-Brigade extender, and so that's what's going to happen. Nerval will be sent to the graveyard, and we're going to activate Nerval's effect to search for us something interesting, and it's hard to decide exactly what to search for because we have a few options here. We have clearly an Appaloosa plus some more. The question is, can we extend into something else? And we'll have to see there. But I think we have to go for a Fractal here because we just need like a Tri-Brigade that we're not going to use. We don't need any of its special effects. So let's just go for the Fractal here. And what we're going to do now is we are going to activate Farrajet to special summon the Fractal. Okay, and then what we can do is we can banish these four for the Charade. I think we've seen this already once in this video. And so we've got like this, right? But we don't actually need to do anything crazy yet because, you know, it depends on how you want to play. So you can go to Appaloosa right now, but one thing we could try with this combo hand is to special these two out, right? And so what is that going to do for us? Well, so we're going to have to link these off, it looks like, for an Appaloosa. And we're going to get the Charade search and the Farrajet draw. So we will search out a Karis, and then Farrajet will draw one and put one back. I'm not going to bother to shuffle here. Okay, so now we have something like this here. So what we're going to need to do here is we have these two extra link materials, right? And so what we can do is we can actually activate the Karis, pitching this to, or, you know, if we didn't draw that, we would have just pitched the Epic Zevion to special this. And then what we can do is we can actually activate the Karis, banishing, you know, let's say 2 here for a double Dragon Lords, okay? And then we can actually link these 3 off for our Simorgh. So we were actually able to end on Appaloosa, double Dragon Lords, and this is an Appaloosa for 3, so a pretty strong Appaloosa, mind you. Just with some weird extra cards in our hand. So that was an interesting combo. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I will go to the next test hand, maybe 1 or 2 more. Let's take a look. We'll see how the video goes. Okay, so here is a hand. So this hand is broken because it has Fractal Warbler. So if you guys haven't seen the combo video, I'm just going to actually skip this hand because it'll just be repeating what's already in the combo video. So make sure if you want to see how to end on Statue, Appaloosa, Simorgh, double Dragon Lords plus Oath and Grave with just these 2 cards, then go ahead and take a look at that. Otherwise, I'm not going to bother. I'm just looking for unique hands, as I said at the beginning of this video. It has some promise here. Okay, we've got an interesting hand here. Now, whenever you draw the statue, you want to look for opportunities where you can just normal summon it. And this is an interesting play, like especially against Eldritch. If you can find an opportunity where you can just normal the statue and then continue on with your plays, because that shuts off a lot of their back row. So I'm going to try to do this combo with a normal summon of statue at the end. So one of the easiest ways you can do things you would start with a Fractal, right? And then Fractal, you're going to send a Nerval, and you're going to add a Karis, right? Okay, so this is the first special summoned, and it's non-win, so you need to make sure you do all your non-wins first, right? So one thing you could do here easily is activate this special this, right? And if you want to, this also plays around Nibiru if you're going first. So whenever you draw a statue, you want to be keen to that, keen to the possibility that you could draw a and just normal summon the statue. So one thing you could do here, like I said, was, okay, we've got the kit. Kit can now send, whatever you want, basically. And in this case, you could grab, you could send another Tri-Brigade. You could send anything, but I think this time we can send the Rendezvous, right? And so what we're going to do now is this also plays around Gamma if they don't Gamma you here, right? So I sort of like when you draw the statue, you have some interesting thoughts here. So one thing you can now do is you could just normal summon this, right? And make sure you want to put it in the zone with a Simorgh. So let's normal summon it over here. Then all of a sudden your opponent's like, well, there goes my Gamma, there goes my Nibiru, and then you can banish 3 to special summon a Simorgh, and then you could even set this. And then during the end phase, you could special out an Apex Avian. So like this is like just some weird things you can do. There are different plays that we could have done with this hand. But when you draw the statue, it is something very interesting to look at, especially if you want to play it safe, where you go with some normal summoning statue plays. We've got basically statue protection plus a negate. And then we'll even have follow for next turn. Unfortunately, this oath isn't live. There is probably a better way to make it live if you don't want to normal summon the wind barrier statue, but it is what it is. We can use it on our turn to continue our plays or special summon something back. So that is that. You know what? I'm feeling generous. Let's do one more hand here. 5 hands to cap off the video. I think that was our 4th one. All right, we have Tanky, Swallow, DD Crow, Tanky. Okay, so I'm not going to go over this hand because it's too broken. Because we have Fractal Warbler. So, like I said, that combo is just too good, so go ahead, watch that combo video if you haven't already. Alright, so let's try one more time here. Nerval, Ash, Nerval, Swallow. Ooh, here we go. Here we have an interesting hand. Okay, so, of course, we see instantly that if we normal summon the Nerval, we get some value like this. So it's going to be interesting to see how we play through this, but of course we are going to start with the Nerval, and then, let's just start with this as well. So we'll special these 2 out, okay? Now the question is, how do we want to play it from this point forward? And it's probably best to special both of these over here to leave space for Linkuriboh and Ferrojets over here. Okay. Nevertheless, we have a few options here. We could overlay these 2 for some things, or we could link these 2 off. Now, the thing about like when you're just trying to figure out combos when you're playing is you want to try to maximize the Tri-Brigade banishes that you have. I've found out, and so like like here, if I link these 2, if I exceed these 2, it can be a little awkward because I may not have a good banish target for this Nerval. I mean, I might as well, but I might not, because then like I have to use this Nerval right away, so I have to grab like Fractal, and then Fractal has to activate its effect to dump something. So then I'm losing like a Fractal thing too. Whereas I'd rather just like special out the Fractal and continue my combos this way because I'm already getting a Nerval search, right? And so we have a few options here. One thing you could do, I'm looking into right away, is linking these 2 off for either a Harpy Conductor or a Ferrojet. I'm not too certain exactly what yet, but one of these 2 does seem very promising, and the Ferrojet seems the most promising because we get our Nerval search here, and Nerval can search us another Tri-Brigade. This time we're probably going to want to go for a kit here, right? Because a kit can send stuff to the graveyard, and we have a Call by the Grave for some extra plays here. So what we can do is we can activate the Ferrojet and special out the kits. Now, one thing you want to be careful is you want to use the Nerval, because we're going to use this Nerval, and probably better a special kit over here. We're going to use this Nerval we want to get the value, right? So we can actually banish 2 to special summon double Dragon Lord, something like that, right? Now, we have to be slightly careful because we would like for our kit to go to the graveyard, right? We want to activate its effect, and so that way we can get, you know, whatever we want, right? And so, and we still want to make our final board as well. So, you know, we have a few options here, but like you could try like linking these two off because we still haven't used our kit, right? And we can link these two off for a Simorgh, of course. Don't know why I blanked on that. And then we could use our Fairy Deck to draw, see what we get here. Cat is interesting, but I'd probably rather have the 2 disruptions if I'm playing against my opponent, so that's probably going to go to the bottom. Now we have some interesting things. We want to link off this kit, and we want to get something in the graveyard that we want. If you were planning on going Rendezvous, it actually might have been better, you know, to summon the Simorgh over here so we can have all the tri-pieces pointing at each other, which allows Rendezvous to point at each other. But we have, you know, like I said, we have a few options here. We could go Banish 2 for, you know, something like a Fairy Jet just so that we can link these off again. We can Banish 2 for like if we want to Banish 2 for a Heartbeat Conductor, like let's say here, we could link these 2 off again and turn it into another Fairy Jet, which is a Beast if you want to go the Oath route, right? Because we can go Oath, we have Beast, Warrior, Winged Beast. And then what this is going to allow you to do is you're actually going to be able to send an Oath to your graveyard. So this was a pretty interesting play. So the Oath is going to be sent to the graveyard, and we can actually be able to make an Oath live, and then during the end phase special out our statue. So we meet all 3 types: Beast, Warrior, Winged Beast. We could even set this or keep this in our hand if we want to try to play around Ash. And so that was a pretty interesting combo. We've got a protection for our statue as well. So you could probably, you know, if your opponent doesn't do anything, you can just discard the Call by the Grave to the Double Dragon Lords. So very interesting board. Super interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoy doing these combos. It's always fun to just take your deck, shuffle it up, and see what you can do. Hope you guys learned a thing or two. Make sure if you enjoy my content to please consider subscribing. And until next time, guys, I will see you guys in the next video.